Welcome to Under the Spotlight. Right here on Just Jamaica TV. Thanks to those who have already joined our channel. And we look forward to those who will in the days ahead. As we turn on the spotlight, here is your host, Stafford Perkins.
Hey, good evening, one and all. Man, I'm coming in a very weird hour. So if I don't see one person showing up, I would not be surprised. But you know what? You have some faithful, you have some old faithful, and some people who are interested in what is going on, especially in Jamaica at this time. And I'm pretty sure I will be joined by some of my old faithfuls. I don't know if anybody else out there giving me big competition and bouncing me to the curve, all those kind of things. But, you know, I've grown to understand this thing that sometimes while you might not see a lot of people up front, you're going to get a host of people coming on later on. And, you know, because they have different programs to watch. Because the way I watch a lot of these clips, these YouTube clips, is I go after the program, and when I have a nice, you know, downtime or whatever, quiet time, I use it to view a lot of the programs, you know, some good programs. I try not to miss anybody's program. I try to share or, you know, put some comment on it that it will help the situation, and or I give a thumbs up and things like that. So this is what I'm going to ask each and every one of you who will find this program this evening. If you come up on it, if you are tuned into it already, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button. It's very important. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up, which means you like the program. And make a comment. Yeah, make a comment. And if you see that bell somewhere like in the right side of the screen, and it says notification, what that will do, it will notify you when I'm on. And as I told you before a week or so ago, I said, I'm going to be focusing on the developments, the goings on in the Jamaican political system, because we have elections this year. 2025 is an election year, general election year. And all my friends are friends of Jamaica out there in the diaspora, in the African diaspora, because the African people are tuned into Jamaica in a big way these days. They are just into what we're doing. And I'm telling you, I see Andrew Holness is benefiting big time from it. From, you know, they can't vote. The people in the African diaspora, they can't vote. The Jamaican diaspora, if they fly home, they can vote, because we don't yet have absentee voting. We need to get there one day. But I see the African people, the bloggers, and those who, you know, will find the site, find my site or any other Jamaican site. They are very actively participating. They're talking about Jamaica. The people on the African continent, they are loving Jamaica in a bigger way than Jamaicans used to. You know how we love Africa. We just fantasize and romanticize about Africa, because we grew up in a society where we heard people talking about Africa, especially the Rastafarian people, the Rastafari community. They taught us everything, a lot of what we know about Africa and loving ourselves as a people. They taught us that we were, you know, whatever happened to us, and we lost a lot of our culture and we lost our names, and they taught us, the Rastafari people. And, you know, they were vilified, the Rastafarians. They were in Jamaica, they were vilified, they were scorned, they were, you know, looked down on. the people thought they were less than and lower than. And there was, as I use the word lower than, I came up on something because, we are coming out of the British, Jamaica is coming out of the British colonial system. And while the British in the end weren't as vicious as the French, they did their fair share of craziness, of brutality. But we are up against in Jamaica this one Englishman who was taking up residence in Jamaica. Nobody knows how he came about to be in Jamaica, but he's there claiming to be born in Jamaica, which is not true, because in the early days, if you are from a foreign country, you're going to try to have your child, you're going to try to head to that foreign country and have your child there because you know that he's going to have a better chance in life because they have a more advanced system than what was going on in Jamaica. So I know that Mark Golding's father, the man we're talking about, his father wasn't going to allow him to be born in Jamaica. So more than likely he was taken overseas, taken away back into England, go have him born there, and so that he can be guaranteed all of the goodness that comes with being a British citizen. One of the things about Britain, where it's hard for people who were not born, say, before independence, 1962, or even born in anywhere in the 60s, and in some regards, some 70s. If you weren't born then, you wouldn't have an idea what it was like to live in a colonial system under colonial rule. And that you would look and you would not see anybody looking like yourself occupying any grand position. After a while, of course, the system of colonialism, what they will try to do, they will pick a few people and they will train them. They will even tell you they educate them, but the kind of educating that they did is to, get you to see the British system as the only way, the right way, the good way, the best way. Our colonial system do that or does that. And so those kinds of experiences where you know that when you lived in those times, you know that what they will do for even the people who that class of people who what they call the intelligentsia, those who they picked and were given a chance to get into what special institutions that they created, because after a while they didn't have enough of them to fill these schools. They would pick some people from out of the society, out of these subjects of His or Her Majesty, and they would prepare them and they would send them to some special schools, and they would be properly trained to become the general, what they call it, the parliamentary secretaries, and maybe somebody to manage a department here and a department there. And so they had to give the part of the perks that they give them because they were loyal servants to Her Majesty or His Majesty of England, the King and Queen, or King or Queen of England. So those people were treated very differently and special, and it's also helped to separate and to make some of us feel like we are better than the other. Because when we are able to live up in some uptown, as we call it in Jamaica, in the uptown areas, our children will behave and act differently than the kids who are born in the downtown section, which is where the most of Jamaicans lived, up to in the 70s then, because during the latter part of the 60s and the earlier part of the 70s, a lot of new developments took place. A lot of the towns are what we would call towns here, and I'm talking about the Duane Park, the Heavendale, Pembroke Hall, Meadowbrook, what do you call it there now, up in Hope Pastures, Mona. All those places never existed, but they were built because people were, having better, they got a break and they had a job, and they were the permanent secretary for a ministry, or they were whatever the different positions and designations that they create for you because you have to do their work, do the kind of in those times it was looked upon as high positions, but a lot of the time these are just menial jobs, and you get the chief of this or the whatever the designations would be, and so people would be feel so special. They would make them look special, and things like that. So here we are. That in this one of my clips that I'm going to play later on, you're going to hear. And most people might have heard it already. You're going to hear Massa Mark, the Massa, when he's addressing the people, because he doesn't really understand the culture. He doesn't understand the psyche of the Jamaican people. He doesn't understand what it is like to be downtrodden. He doesn't understand that what it meant to when people look down on you and make you think lesser of yourself, that you're children of lesser gods. He doesn't understand that. He came from privileged situation, a privileged background. In fact, his father's position in life made them a part of what they call the British Empire. So he's guaranteed a lot of things. He of course, I think, where did he go to? Oxford, I think he went to, which is one of the big schools in, universities in England. And he was guaranteed that from a child. It couldn't happen any other way for him. Whether he had the ability or to do it, he was guaranteed that because his father served in some places and did some kind of stuff that I'm not going to go into the details of that this evening, but he got his break, a good break, breaks which most people in Jamaica never got. The majority, maybe a 0.001% of people got a chance to go to a high school, and then later on, because, and they got a chance to go up to England and study, and they got a chance to, after a while, it was America, it became America. But a point I was going to make earlier is that people don't even realize that England, some people don't, this younger generation, they don't even, I don't think they can even wrap their brains or minds around the fact that England was the superpower of the world up to maybe the 70s. England was a superpower. England was a superpower even more bigger than the United States of America. And, after World War II, things started changing for them. England started diminishing in stature, in power, because they got beaten down, they got pulverized by Hitler. And for them to save themselves, that they remain today as a people who we call the British people, for them to have survived Hitler, they had to reach out to their friend, the one they call the United States of America. They had to reach out to the United States of America and say, hey, come help us, because this man is about to overrun us. And he had already overrun a bunch of them. France had already, capitulated and took a knee to Hitler. There's a thing they call the resistance, which continued a good while, while the war was raging. But a lot of times they were selling out each other. Mussolini from Italy, and Franco from Spain, and with the one from one of them from France. They all were selling themselves left, right, and center because they couldn't fight Hitler. But England, that little, which is they call it the Isle. It's an island in itself, and England was just fighting, and like the way you see Ukraine is fighting Russia today, because Germany was strong, powerful. They had a lot of advanced technology, and they were overpowering. They had a lot of planes, and England developed along the way, and they kept fighting. But when things started looking, as we say, seedy for them, things started looking not so good, they called out to the Americans, to the United States of America. And of course, the Americans came in, helped them, overpowered the Germans. And what they did, these colonialists, the England, the France, the Spain, the Italians, they all reached out Italy didn't have much, too much colonies that they were hanging on to Eritrea. And they reached out and they said, hey, come help us. We reached out to the Caribbean because a lot of us were in the Caribbean. And they said, come fight for us. And when we need, come fight for us. And if we overpower this who they consider to be a demon, if we overpower this demon, you'll be given your freedom, you'll be given your independence, you can go off on your own and you can operate your own business. And everybody wanted that. All the people of colonies wanted somewhere. If the little people of themselves didn't think that they could do it, you had guys who went out and studied and mingled and learned from, different people from different parts of the earth. And of course, we had a man named Marcus Garvey who was teaching that kind of thing that they hated. The colonizers, they hated Marcus Garvey because he was teaching us that we were worth much more than. We were capable of doing anything any other man in the earth could do. And it made Black people start looking at themselves as people of worth, that we had worth. And we were on the same equal. And from that time until now, we have been looking at ourselves as being worthy of doing anything any other man can do or was doing. And so but at the same time, no matter what they did, no matter what happened, how we fought through and overcame and acquired education, and we didn't learn so much about ourselves or the greatness of the Black man. We learned about the greatness of the white man, the Europeans. We heard that they did everything, while along the way, before them, we were the ones who had, Black people, Africans had been the one who laid down the track. We laid down everything, taught them everything. But again, a time is coming, especially June is a good time to do it, but not this week, where we can look again at the history of Africans, how we developed and how we were underdeveloped, when the Europeans took control. And so when I was, as I thought about doing this program, and I'm saying, the next thing, I ran into this clip where Mark Golding, whether it be a slip of the tongue, whether, as they call it, a Freudian slip, but something came out of Mark Golding's mouth that leaves you wondering. I don't want to, should I? Maybe I should. I probably should start with that clip, and then I will go into the, no, I'm going to leave him for a minute. I'm going to go into the actual election and to say who is saying what and how things are looking. So let's start with the Prime Minister, because he is the one, he's a target. He's the one with the target on his back by the opposition, and they think they can take him down and they think they can take him out. But this is not as we say, like you say, this is not an easy cookie. This is not somebody, he's not a pushover. He's a skilled politician, and he has grown in this job, and he has grown in great stature. And the longer he stays in there, the better he seems to be getting. And things are even showing signs. There are signs of good progress. So let me open the batting this evening. Before I open the batting, I'm going to say, if you want to hear more of this, if you want to hear what I have to say, and I will add more as I ad lib and go along, is to say, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, make a comment, and of course, what else? Hit that notification bell, and every time I come on with something, you'll be notified, and you'll be amongst the first to watch it. Even though sometimes I am not normally in that first set who listen, but I listen because I want to learn. Everybody's doing their deep research and pulling up stuff. All right, so let me go to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, the Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness. All right.
To tell people that we had no plan. You put in place the zones of special operations as in St. James, and the reports I received from Mount CLM, Salt Spring, Norwood, about peaceful those communities have become, they can't join me because they backlogged it. It was almost as if they wished the government to fail. And what is the consequence of the failure of the government in managing crime? As the Deputy Superintendent pointed out to me, he said, Prime Minister, 21 more families are happy today because there are 21 less murders in the parish. But they don't care about that. They don't care about that. The truth is, they don't care about your life. They don't care. But I care. I care enough to be ambitious and bold in trying to bring Jamaica to peace. I care enough to be able to stand up and say, without fear, that Jamaicans must be able to sleep with their windows and doors open. That is and we must be ambitious and bold enough, not just to dream, but to vision and plan for it. But it tells you how ambitionless they are. Because under their administration, it was an impossibility that for 3 years straight, you could have a reduction in murders. 3 years. And we expect that this will continue. It will continue because the people of Jamaica now see it is possible.
Did that thing finish? Okay. All right. So I think I should be back now. Let me move this out and then I should get back. Okay. So I had my phone open. So then need to get this down some more. So so as I was saying, here's Andrew Wilness, and let me see if I can, because the video is, I mean, the audio quality wasn't the best, but if you listen, you heard that he was making his case. He was presenting some of what he has done, how things have, given account of his stewardship over the last, I would say this last term that he is coming to an end, its most recent 5-year term. And you can see where things have turned around in a big way for him, because I was in the earlier days, I was never Andrew Holness fan. In fact, when he first came up and he was going to run the whole, I didn't even realize how popular he was. I was like ripping him on, you know what, day and night. And I lost a good friend, but well, I think we eventually made up because she didn't like the way I was dealing with him. And so I didn't really know him. I didn't know if he was ready for this thing. I was looking for other people to take the country forward. And then, but he broke through and he got his time. In fact, he got a little piece of, what's his name, Bruce Golding's term. When Bruce Golding's term was coming to an end, he got a piece of it. But because he wanted to get his own mandate, his own 5-year mandate, he called election maybe even a year, if not close to a year before the piece that he got from Bruce Golding. He called an election and he lost. It was one of the shortest period any Jamaican prime minister served. I think he served for about a month, and he went ahead and called the election because he wanted to get his own mandate, and that he paid a price for that. He paid a heavy price for it. He got voted out, and Let me see if I can get this down to nothing. And he paid a heavy price for it. And when he went back and did his thing and started working, he made a connection with the young people of the country. I didn't even realize that that was happening. I just didn't see him having that, kind of strength that, he could, that he could come take something from even a person like a Portia Simpson Miller, who was very popular, and the former Prime Minister, Portia Simpson Miller. And she was very popular, but he came in there and he knocked her off, knocked her over, and he went back in. And then by the second time in, he was there. He knocked over who? He knocked over Peter, Dr. David Phillips, the Honorable Dr. Peter David Phillips, and he took him over, took it over. But why Peter Phillips lost him the second time? Peter Phillips could have beaten him, but you had a set of people who decided that in their own stupid headspace, they decided that they would destroy the party and bring down Peter Phillips. And they thought they said they would mash it down and rebuild it in 5 years. No, what has happened, the biggest mistake, they say you have to be careful what you wish for, because the biggest mistake they made was to destroy Peter Phillips, and they are paying a dear price for it, because every year that Dr. Andrew Holness stay in office, every day he stays in office, he gets stronger. And so when I looked one day and I realized that this gentleman, Dr. Andrew Holness, that he was getting results. Things were happening for him that I never saw happen with anybody else. So I started saying, you know what? I don't know about these other guys who turned out to be these kind of usurpers and backstabbers and, underminers. I didn't see how I could just go take these guys after what they did and the record that they have, that they have from past dealings, and they were actively involved in something that led to the collapse of the Jamaican economy. And if we want we use the term FinSac, which was the company that they used to liquidate a lot of valuable assets in Jamaica. One man from Texas came and he became a billionaire by buying up things on the pennies on the dollar and selling them back the thousands on the dollar. Same pennies for the seller. Instead of selling it to the Jamaican people, or float some bonds and things, they kind of just, sold off. And those guys who became these miscreants in the whole thing, they are the ones who benefit also in a big way. And, eventually after a while, people heard it, they figured it out, started teaching, started telling people, exposing them. A lot of good people, strong people who have been working hard in what has now become the resistance. And they have been teaching and I've been doing my part over the years. And people have eventually caught on from the teachings, and they understand it. And people have kind of just been peeling away from them. And so, but they're coming with a strategy in old Jamaica. And when I say old Jamaica, I don't mean like in the 30s and 20s. I'm talking about in the 80s with a man named, Eddie Siaga. He actually started in the 70s. And Eddie Siaga would always look for some scandals, always look for the scandals and present it. And then Bruce Golding took it upon himself and he kind of operated off of that same order. Scandals, wherever you can grab a scandal, push it out there and you just topple your opponent, the government. You usually, if they're in the opposition, they use and bring down the government. Because people, get disgusted by these kind of, crazy behavior. And so what this present PNP, the PNP as a party was known as the most, the most organized political party in any part of the earth. they knew they had leaders who knew how to win election, and one of them, even though he came under for some roasting from us in a not so distant time, is PJ Patterson. He knew how to win election, and so when Edward Seaga, the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, which is now the ruling party, when Eddie Seaga was using up all these kind of tactics of bringing up scandals and trying to create scandals, so a lot of times he got himself in trouble. He would say things that didn't come out good in the end. You know, we'd call people black scandal bag, or talking about monkeys driving bus in Africa. And because he was not a black person, so he doesn't understand the dynamics or the ramifications of using certain terms when it comes to black people. And he would be saying things that would just blow up in his face, and he would end up losing the election. So he lost about, what was it, 3 or 4 elections to PJ Patterson, who was the leader of the PNP at the time, before somebody really, I think the ruling class, the business class, before they found out we had, some people say he was given some money to step aside, you know, before he got to that. You know, they helped him to push him to the side and get him out of the way. And then so Bruce Golden came in, and he got messed up with some mistake he made in his life, which I'm sure he's still regretting it every day of his life. And we're paying for it by the things he actually revealed. Bruce Golden, because they like the scandal thing, he revealed some information that a young lady who was at a good big position in a bank, and he got it, and instead of said he got it from somebody with no name, he went out and actually called the name of the person who he got information. That lady, she died from a broken heart because she was fired, and her life just came crashing down around her, and her heart couldn't take it, and she succumbed to it. You know, you can get all kinds of these weird diseases when you get that kind of pressure, disappointment. You know, she might have died from some cancer or something. I know people who actually succumbed to cancer because they made mistakes in life which cost them, and the whole system collapsed under it. And it's amazing what can happen to you if you come under a lot of pressure, and you know, psychological pressure, and it can destroy you, it can kill you. And so here it is that so Bruce and they use a lot of these scandals and they got through. But here comes this new set of people who call themselves risers, who took over the PNP party. It's a coup of the PNP party, if you ask me. They carried out a coup and overthrew Dr. Peter Phillips, overthrew the whole party. And they are in control. And they have told themselves they're going to use scandal to get to where they want to go. And so they start to, you know, they would bring scandal against Peter Phillips, they bring scandal against Portia Simpson Miller, the scandal, Philip Baldwell, the scandal Lisa Hanna, and they know they're in charge and they don't know what to do because the scandal thing is not working anymore. They went out and they organized and they formed an elite, alliance with the Integrity Commission, and they were there bringing people to think that, this Integrity Commission is so good and righteous, and the Integrity Commission had some of the most unscrupulous people running the place. Eventually, they played themselves. That you played yourself. Eventually they played themselves and got bounced to the curb. So here, these now, recently, we saw the most recent thing where a gentleman was who became, powerful in this integrity. The Integrity Commission just started collapsing, just collapsing under the weight of the craziness that was going on. They say integrity, but we call them this corrupt. They became this corrupt organization, which was applying scandal to bring down and to destroy, especially Dr. Andrew Holness. They used scandals and they were things, and it just didn't work, and they themselves think. So in the end, And I'm going to go back to another clip because I want to bring in the risers or the PNP side of it. Let one of them speak, and then I'm going to get to that part with Massa Mark, who said the crazy things about, black people being lower than. But I will bring his deputy, his co-leader, the one them called the Buntings, Peter Bunting, Stunting Bunting. So they put this thing come up now where they went through a process where they investigated the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Dr. Andrew Holness, for some wrongdoing they claim he carried out, and that he was corrupt and all that kind of thing. But when they took it through the process of investigation between the Integrity Commission and everything and the court, they found that Andrew Holness was not guilty of anything. But in making this mischief and creating this ugly scene with Andrew Holness, they were supposed to show that he's guilty, but he proved them wrong, that he's not guilty. Whether he's guilty or not, I'm not here to judge and go past and judge and say he's not guilty, guys, who knows. But if you take a man to court and you go through the system and they try you and you get found not guilty, you can't, because the man was found not guilty, you can't walk on and still tell the man to corrupt, even though he was found not guilty. You have to move on, leave that and say, maybe another time I'll catch you because I know you this and that. But they still hell-bent saying that they want him to be found, held as being guilty. And so this part of the mess that they created was through an agency they call the financial FID, Financial Investigation Division. That unit in the Integrity Commission is supposed to audit, investigate, tear down, look into the whole thing and to see if there's any wrongdoing going on. When they brought in this, we don't trust the Jamaican people to take care of their business. So we want you to bring some foreign people, some overseas. And they went for some of the best, maybe one of the best auditors in the world, brought him into Jamaica, spent millions of dollars, and they dug into this thing with Andrew Holness. And the men come up and they say, no, we don't find anything wrong here. And they said, even though the people were paid a lot of money to take care of things, they said we didn't find any. And the man left and said, we didn't find anything wrong. They said, no, we say you're guilty, so we want you to continue. We want to continue to investigate you. Now, what happened with that scene is that if they keep him, Andrew Holness, in this holding position of with this big question sign over his head, you're going to say you can't go through certain things without people looking at you as questionable. So instead, let's say, all right, the case is done, let's move on and forget it. They said, no, we're going to appoint the FID, the Financial Investigation Division, the same FID which already carried out here and didn't find wrong. They say, we want you to go through again because we think there's something wrong here. And because their big support system came from the Integrity Commission. I'm talking about the Massa Mark big support and backing, or backative, as we used to say one time in Jamaica, came from the Integrity Commission with some of the big name luminaries in the legal world, in the jurisprudence, law, judges, and they were put there and they're managing the thing. But they say, even though they brought it down to say that, hey, we didn't find anything wrong, they pushed it. They got them to push it past them and say, let's go and investigate them again. So because they had control of the thing and they were doing what they want to do. In fact, when some of the people stepped away from them, the same guys, the Mark Golden and Peter Bunting, they brought in their own man to fill one of the very important positions I think one is the prosecutor will want a person who will prosecute you if they see you having a wrongdoing or anything. And so they brought him into play. While it was not ethical, let me put it this way, it was not an ethical move, but they wanted to have their own people because they want to make sure the next time they took this thing around the track, they want to make sure they have him sewn up and he could never escape this dragnet. And the people, of course, the government, people who supported the government and, who understood and saw it, and they cried out and they screamed and said, hey, you can't do that. You can't bring this man in here. But they didn't care. They appointed him and he's there. He's a friend of this guy named Daytona. I call him Daytona. I'm out him out. He's the best man. He was the best man or the best man at our guy's wedding or some nonsense. But they were friends, longtime friends. But they didn't care. They said, no, it's fine, he can do it. No, but what happened now, whether it's Andrew Holness pulled in somebody out of his orbit and say, go, because the FID didn't have any, they didn't have a manager, overseas, or, overall manager. They said, all right, whether it's Andrew Holness, or the guy, do it to support Andrew, but he's supposed to be somebody who knows Andrews and has spoken up for Andrew Holness. I'd spoken up for Andrew Holness in the past. They brought him in. This name called me, is in my head, Dennis Chung. And they went out and he went and applied for the job. When he went to the Services Commission and they knew of his connections or his association and anything, but Integrity Commission looked at it and no, not Integrity Commission. The people they call the Services Commission, those are the ones who appoint civil servants and all that and everything. And the Services Commission looked and said, this man is highly qualified. He's a CPA. I don't know, because I don't think any government can control the Services Commission. You can control everybody as you want, but Services Commission people, they don't take, as we call it, shite, and I don't have any reason to put any question sign on them, but they selected the man, put him in charge, and say, you have the job to go in there and run the place. He's not even going to be the one to dig into anything so much, He's going to be like over the manager. He's some executive director. The other people, you have other people in there who are going to do the work. And those same other people had done the work before, but they said, no, you must do it again. And lo and behold, they saw this man, Dennis Chung, and they said, hell no, because they were hoping that they could have gotten another person who is sympathetic to their cause. And lo and behold, that didn't happen. Dennis Chung got the job and they're like renting their clothes, they're tearing out them here, them going crazy. There, no way, hell no, not Dennis Chung. And Mr. Dennis Chung is not even hearing them. He stepped up in his job because he's qualified for the job. And anyway, I was just kind of going through that to say how they are still hell-bent on telling themselves that they're going to use a scandal to get to where they want to get to. I want to know, let me go to Bunting. And eventually I'm going to go with the one with Mark Oden. And please, if you have anybody who you think you'd want to share this with, so they come in and join this discussion, please do so now. And please, if you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, make a comment, and hit that notification bell. Let's go to Mr. Peter Bunting now. And I want you to pay attention. I'm going to make some notes on when he's talking, because this guy, I don't know if anybody is noticing, but something is going on up here in this guy's head. Bunting, I'm telling you, listen to when he's talking. He's saying some stuff, he's mispronouncing words. I'm going to write the name, when he goes straight, I'm going to write down some of them and we'll talk about it when we come back. Let's go to Peter Bunting. But trust me, something is going on with this one.
Scotty, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. In fact, I think the people are...
Let me take that back.
And comrades, I see a strategy them using now. In COVID, them call the election in the middle of COVID and cause what them call it? Community spread. But now, them are going right down to the wire. But I have a message tonight. After seeing the energy of the crowd in Alligator Pond last week, and I hear about the energy of the crowd in Braze River, and I come here in Bullsap and see the energy of the crowd in Bullsap. I have one message. I have one message for Andrew. You can run, but you can't hide. And the longer you wait, the bigger the backsliding you're going to get. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Comrades, a couple of weeks ago I was going to Treasure Beach. I stopped in Flaggerman. And comrades, careful, me no rely upon pole, you know. Everywhere me walk, me go do my little pole. And I see some nice watermelon, and I stop and I talk to the watermelon vendor. And I say, comrade, well, I didn't know if he was a comrade at the time. I just said to him, sir, tell me something. How comrade Miranda look down here? Him say, how you mean? I'm a teacher that, you know. I'm a teacher that. Him say, no follow how me look so old. At 10 years under labor pressure make me look old so. I'm going to say, yes, Miranda look good. Miranda look safe. And then when I come here this evening, Scotty, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. In fact, I think the people are even ahead of us now, because we can't keep up with the crowds and the energy that we're seeing when we're on the road. I love to see the energy you're bringing, Scotty. So, comrades, as I close, I said, time come to restore dignity to the name of Jamaica in the international community. Time come for a prime minister who can get his integrity returns certified. Time come for a government that don't try and tear down the Integrity Commission.
All right, let me move this one out because it's sure that I don't know why it doesn't jump out. All right, so as he was talking, I was here, jotting down some pointers and seeing things. So he said, he's talking about the government. One of the first things he said, and here I want to play this clip again. He's talking about the government and the strategy that they had used in the past when they called an election during COVID. No, it was one of those elections that was overdue, and Andrew decided whether he saw it as an advantage or not, because as a politician, you have to be ready for any and everything and be able to present your point to defeat them. But it's not because Andrew called the thing because that election was called in 2020. It's not because Andrew called it no COVID time. The reason why his party lost that election was because of what they did to Dr. Peter David Phillips. They went against him. The pledge, the cry they had was that they will pull down the party and rebuild it in 5 years. That was the mantra. That was their mantra. That was the cry. And to say, bring him down, pull him down, because the pledge between them and this other, the FinSAC chief, Percival. The thing with them is that he's the one who was backing them. He's the one who brought this Englishman into being. And he's the one who pledged to keep him there. because they wanted to have a certain type of people in charge of the country and in charge of the government. They used to ridicule the same set of people who used to ridicule Portia Simpson Miller and call her that she is the maid and PJ Patterson was the yard boy. These were these top people in the society, the top money guinea gods in the society. Those are the people, and they would call Portia and say she was a maid, and PJ Patterson, a black man, was which Portia was a black woman, of course, too, just to make it clear for those who don't know. That one was a maid and PJ was the yard boy. Those same set of people who but PJ was for whatever, because it was this is one of the people who you come to know him as a very transactional kind of person. A man will, one of the chief transactional people on the earth today. What them call the Orange, Agent Orange. And they are very transactional people. They will do this for this, for this, for this. And as long as they get what they want, you can, to hell with you, go do what you want to do. So they managed to bring this Massa into play and set him up. I remember Ronnie Thwaites making the statement, I've said this before, when he said, hey, he told the people in Arnett Garden, we need you to vote, because they're having a runoff to say who would be the representative for that community. And he went up against a guy named Colin Campbell. And they went against a Jamaican, an African Jamaican, Colin Campbell. And they elected the Englishman who was never born in Jamaica, had no documentation for Jamaica for years, and you're not supposed to do that. Only when pressure came that it was revealed, and he finally one day said, you know what, I never had a Jamaican passport. And he went out to change it. People have been crying out to say, show us that you really gave up your British citizenship. He expects us after many months, maybe over a year, maybe 2 years of trying and cajoling and pushing and plotting and pushing and demanding to say, show us your birth certificate. And he eventually came out and said, okay, yeah, I didn't have a birth certificate, but I have one now. I gave up my British citizenship, but refused to show us evidence, physical evidence, And I have to bring this into play so people can understand what the hell is going on. And so they are and they run, and Ronnie Thwaites, one of the more Eurocentric kind of person. Ronnie Thwaites said one day, he said to the people, we need you to vote for Mark because he's more important to us, to the party, than you'll ever know. Well, they gave him in Jamaica what you call a safe seat. It's like somebody giving going up against a Republican and give them DC, Washington DC. Everybody knows DC is a rock solid Democratic enclave, and even New York to some extent, but New York City will always, in a way, vote Democrats. They're more progressive. They're more, liberal. They're more, have a better, more positive outlook on what, all the different problematic type of issues. They will back the progressive side, these places like New York. So in Jamaica, this place named Arnett Garden is a rockstone, solid PNP place. And usually if you want to protect a person in the party, like the finance minister, you give him that place because this finance minister it's part of most of the constitution, the Jamaican constitution. The finance minister must be an elected official. And so what you do, you give these kind of rock solid places to people who are going to hold positions like that, so they don't have to sweat and worry about it too much, or they're going to win back a seat and all of that. And they do very little work, and they just hold these positions. So Massa Mark was put in that position for that reason, to protect him, to make sure that he wins an election every time the election is called. And somebody's trying to reach me on the somebody. Let me see if I'm not ready for a call, but I'll take it. Oh, I hope that whoever did was making that call, please call me back because I didn't get to the call fast enough. All right, and I want you to call me back, please. My phone was turned face down, that's why I missed it. All right, so again, the person who was calling me, please call me back. If you want to give it a couple, maybe another 10 minutes, but please call me back. It's not that I didn't want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. All right. Anyway, so Master Mark was put in that position, guaranteed that position, and then they worked the show and got him to get control of the party. Pushed out everybody else, no matter who the Jamaican people were looking at. It was all about the massa, that he's the one they want to become head of that country. No, I see that as even going on a bigger, I see a much bigger picture where he was it was one of these plans that you get. All right, I see you now. Let me find who is it, and then I see if I can hold you until I get to that. Who's calling?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail,
I will
press
accept
2.
it so we can know who's calling.
Hello.
Yeah, who's calling?
Leave right to call you.
Yeah, all right.
Leave
Yeah,
right.
yeah, all right. Talk to me the way you say.
You hear me?
Yeah, man, may I listen to you.
Black man time now. A black man time
All
now.
right.
We don't want a white English man to go roll with.
Yeah, I hear you, my
So
brother.
we are there, a black man time now. Anjo, born in Jamaica, born in Spanish town. We know everything about Anjo. We don't know nothing about the English man.
You make me laugh. I see. Yeah. You make me laugh. Not that I'm laughing after you are at you, but you are very brave and strong in your comments. But yeah, man, talk to me some more. Let me hear why you feel so strong about not having the Englishman.
Oh, the English man, if I hide the identity, we don't know where him from, we don't know nothing when him come, but I like a black tape, so that's sure like a bit of paper. But we don't know nothing about him. The school can't show them in God at school and all nothing.
Nowhere in
So
Jamaica.
man, we come from Jamaica and run it, but we don't want an English man.
Yeah. And this is the kind of
We want Jamaican Prime Minister, we want the black man.
this
to
is
run things.
yeah, this is the kind of response I'm picking up more and more because there's a clip I saw it earlier, and it's very creative. I saw about 6 people or more where everybody was holding up their birth certificates, but I should have pulled it out and have it ready and put it out now to show you where people are now. We're even going to that extent. They're printing they're having their birth certificate in their hands, holding it up against their faces and saying, I am this person, and here's my birth certificate. Where is your birth certificate, Mark Golding? And he cannot show it because he said he was born there. And we say, yeah, I'm listening to you. I was just kind of making a point on it. But I think you should. Well and true. I think you should. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's your name? What's your name? What's your name, sir? If you don't mind.
My name is Errol.
All right, Errol. I wanna, if anything, I wanna go some more into what I was saying, and if you can, and call back later on the end. Appreciate your call. Thank you. Thanks. All right. So this is how people are feeling right now. That when they hear it, people are becoming more incensed because this man is not showing his credentials, and you cannot run in a Jamaican election if you don't present your credentials. And some people are there protecting him for maybe they took something from him, and that's why they're keeping him there. But that is weird. Things are. I want to go in, since we are onto this massa, Mark, man. Let's go into. Oh, I can find the writing. That's the Rasta man. Let me see who's this one. All right. That was that. There's a clip I want to play, and this is a very dangerous clip, and I want you to pay attention to it. If needs be, I'll play it over a couple of times. So let me go into this clip with Masamar.
They will try to buy you out. They will try to make you lower than you are.
Wait there. When just a while ago?
They will try to make you lower than you are. They will try to make you lower than you are.
Am I being hard on this Englishman? Am I being hard on the fellow? You know, am I nitpicking? Am I being unfair to him? You know, I have to wonder. Because every time the man opens his mouth, it's as if there is something to talk about in criticism of his own way of thinking. For a few seconds, just a brief moment, I had to wonder if maybe I'm nitpicking, I'm being unfair. And then I read what he said. I transcribed and read what he said. And I was shocked. Let me read it for you. Listen to what the man just said. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to what they have to say. All right, good so far. Look into everything that they say. No problem there. Analyze it carefully, because they will try to deceive you. Fine, no problem with that. They will try to buy you out. I don't know how that come into it, but let's continue. They will try to make you lower than you are. Let me read that again. Listen to what they have to say. Look into everything that they say. Analyze it carefully, because they will try to deceive you. They will try to buy you out. They will try to make you lower than you are. They will try to make you lower than you are. What is this man saying?
All right. So you see, I might have to even bring it back not too long from now, because, and let me just say who that person is. Most people who know her, and that's Miss Michelle, and Michelle Stern, and she's a lady. She runs a channel called Jamaica 411, and she's on fire. You know, she's become the authority on a lot of things, and she grabbed onto that one. She got hold of that clip and she picked it out, and I'm telling you, you know, there are some other parts, but which I'm not even going to bother with. But this point is what I was saying, that Siaga got caught in the same trap, the same net, the same rat trap, the same bird trap, you know, the bird net, what the Calaban used to call it. He got caught in it over and over by saying things that was not very nice. And who dare? This is a man is Jamaica is 99.999 whatever percent black African descent. Go through the struggles, rough struggles, and with fighting and pulling our way through. And he's and that's the kind of language he's using in front of these people, because that is the way he sees these people. He thinks of them as something lower than himself, and he said to the people and into their faces, lower than you are. Tell me now if this makes sense. And I just want to say, Michelle, you did a good job with it. The way it came over very strong, and the way you have picked up on it, and the way you have presented it. And I hope the Jamaican people hear and know this is that when we are here talking and pointing out you and telling you, and in some regards teaching, we're not just doing this because we want to make mischief. We saw the danger, we saw the trap, we saw where a trap that we're walking down to this trap, and some people, they're all about the party. But these people don't care about you. They are going to let you feel it. They're going to let you pay for it when they get their chance. And this man, because his brain is not, something is lacking there. Same kind of thing that I'm hearing coming out of Bunting now. I just want to jump back to Bunting a little bit to show you how that these brains are not working correctly. Bunting said Bunting does not rely on poll. Yet still, even though he said he doesn't rely on poll, he said he goes out to do his own poll. And he goes and he talk to one man. And he asks the man, what do you think about a particular constituency? And the man tell him, say, oh man, we're good, man, we're doing good. And him say, he's saying about, him tell him to go ask somebody named Miranda. And Miranda will tell him, this is one man I think that is good enough. This one man would be good enough to tell him this is why the PNP is going to win that seat, which is ridiculous. Anybody who knows the thing, again, Michelle, them and our friend, Karen and Liz, them go out and they did them door-to-door canvassing and the things they heard and saw. Yet still he's coming Bunting is coming to try to tell us that don't listen to them and them poll. My poll, me go talk to one person, and the one person will me talk to better than the poll where the man doing 1,400 or 1,600 people that they interviewed. Because one man he said things that I'm trying to catch up where I made some notes. He's saying time come now to restore Jamaica's name in the international. If anybody has something to do with bringing down the name of Jamaica, that would be that man who heard talking there a while ago, because they did some stuff that needs to be investigated by Interpol and whoever else, big FBI or CIA, whatever the people who do investigate enough people who are doing wrongdoings, especially when it comes to money and all them things. But that is the kind of situation that we are up against in Jamaica, where these people. I want to just look quickly, and before I go any further, just acknowledge I did mention Annette, and it was one of the first out of the gate. And then there's somebody named Miss Hatiate, imported crowds. But Miss Hatiate, you know something? It's not only set a crowd, but maybe that's why. Did you notice how subdued the crowd was? The crowd that is there telling, said them full up a hype, them doing so good. But look how subdued the crowd. Where is this thing? Why can't I get up here? How subdued. I should play it again. Look at the crowd, how subdued they were. Come on. I'm trying to get into something. Let me see if I can get it to work. I'm just shucks. I can't find. I got to it now. All right. Let me add him. I mean, just look at the crowd again.
I'm a teacher that.
All right. I need to go back to the top. Yeah.
And comrades, I see a strategy them using now. In COVID, them call the election in the middle of COVID and cause what them call it, community spread. But now, them are going right down to the wire. But I have a message tonight. After seeing the energy of the crowd in Alligator Pond last week, and I hear about the energy of the crowd in Braze River, and I come here in Bullsap and see the energy of the crowd in Bullsap. I have one message. For Andrew. You can run, but you can't hide.
No, I just want to say, can you imagine? Look at that crowd. If it was it couldn't be more subdued if you were in a, what them call a Moravian church or some Lutheran church. You know them church where they keep quiet and the pastor just talk through some things and him done. And he's talking about energy. What energy? These guys are something is wrong, something is off. Because this one, he's telling the people, you are lower than you are, that you're low. Something is just not working, not gelling, not in sync in their brain, because they're saying things and they don't know what they're saying, and they're just stepping on themselves in doing that. And All right, so I was talking, can acknowledge Mr. Ati. Then the Electro, good night, Electro. And then, oh yeah, the West Kingston thing there. You know, I can never be sure about these things. I need to write them down. Black man time, and they will try to make you lower than you are. What an insult. Yeah, this is Mr. Ati. I'm telling you, when I heard that thing, I said, does this guy even know what he was saying? Because you would think somewhere, where is the media? Where is the, what they call the traditional media in Jamaica to pick up on this and pressure this man to come out and apologize to the Jamaican people? He needs to apologize, and he wants people to vote for him to come to come rule your life, to manage your life, when he thinks that you are lower than him. When a politician is given a job, you don't give him the job because you think he's higher than you. You have given him a job because you want him to do a certain job, to manage a certain way. He works for you. The electorate of Jamaica, the voters of Jamaica, politicians are not your boss. Some Jamaican men as old as they are, they will look on the youngest to come on and tell you, yes, my boss, yes, dad, yes, dada. You know, some little ridiculous talk like that. And if you don't think much of yourself, that is why he's talking to you like that, telling you that you are lower than. He's telling you you're even lower than them. Remember, don't forget where his foreparents had us, because they didn't think we were worth anything. We were not, they said we wouldn't amount to anything. When they left Jamaica, they expected us to starve and to do some stupidness and mash up, and we'll fight our way around until we find people who are doing the right things and making the economy grow, and we're starting to look like some people with some sense. And he comes to a meeting with people and tell him that you are lower than. You know, and this is the kind of nonsense that I think. I want to go to a guy who, you know, because they think they're doing so good. And I saw this other clips. I got it from somewhere. I'm not sure now. So I'm going to play a little bit. This is a Rasta man. I don't know if I want to call him a Rasta man, because I see him with something then hand a bottle of something, a drink, and Rasta man, drinky, and eaty, and yummy, and drinky business. But let me go into this.
Yes.
And your party was there. And one day I don't tell him shake it. And now this visit with by my boy is 6 times now.
6 times.
And it worse.
Worse.
So Frank with a gone with his landslide.
So what
I want to say that make it to my boy right now. If you want to win the seat, it's only Elizabeth. Call back for him. Ian Stevenson, I'll get you an arm Scott. Send him back to Spanish Town.
Okay, great.
I'll get him.
So all the meeting in Bullsap?
Well, the appetite from Congo, I don't have the mind to go over there. I know it's flop. Well, I got about 7 people. So charge them to go to Junction.
Where's that time?
All right. Thank you, TikTok, for coming up and doing that for me. So that was a TikTok report, as you can see. But where is this time looking like now? 9:30, 10:30. I just gone past that 1 hour mark. Right. So this is the kind of nonsense that these people are presenting themselves. I think I might have a Brogard thing here now, because I don't want to go much longer than this. That everybody needs to go to them bed and all them kind of things. But I don't think I played this Brogard piece yet. Let me go into it.
And be the most critical of the party. Cuss your dog rotten. You have people who say, I don't agree with this policy. It should be so. But that's the beauty of a democratic organization. We resolve issues like a family. So everybody has your own views and we work it through. But that is what makes us richer. That is what makes us more attractive to the electorate and indeed to other members of the other organization who have found a home and a place in the Jamaica Labour Party. At the end of the day, we are Jamaica's party. And you are part of that great mission, that great movement to ensure that we achieve the virtuous cycle of peace, productivity, and prosperity. We are your voice. We represent your vision. You will vote for us. Yes. And when you vote for us, it will be your victory. When the Jamaica Labour Party wins, Jamaicans win. Everybody wins. Because our party has never set up the Pickers Guild Committee. Our party has never set up any committee to exclude anyone from employment or from public office unless they were a card-carrying member. No. So,
all right, let's end it right there because people need to go to their bed. And but just to say, yeah, that was Andrew Willis. He was trying to explain how people when they vote, they're voting not because them thinking higher than them, you know, but to say that this is how the party operates, that they try to do things that they can curse out the thing. No, what went through my mind a while ago, maybe they need to, you know, in the early days in the South, in the Jim Crow era, they used to do a thing in America where them don't want black people to vote. So them give them a jar of jelly beans and tell them so they must just look at it. And if you can tell them exactly how many jelly beans are in the jar, you can vote. And if you tell them a wrong number, you can't vote. You know, it's a ridiculous and unreasonable system was. But as I hear Andrew Willis use that term, something dog rotten. You know, them cuss your dog rotten. Them should give Andrew Willis. They should give Master Mark one test and ask him what do people mean when them say cuss your dog rotten. You know, I'm sure he would have a problem answering that. He claimed to grow up in Jamaica, but if they grow in Jamaica, we don't know what it means, you know. And so I just want to make people know I'm doing my part to expose this person who is going around, this what I'm calling it, this imposter who's going around and saying that he is that he's above them, he's higher than them, and they are lower than, you know. You ever hear when some Jamaican people are cussing, it's a woman in particular, they say, and then them use up all kind of word, them as we say, class up them and they're real bad, and then them say, you're lower than, you know, when they say, when you tell a man say him lower than, that's a serious statement, right? They're saying it's no joke, it doesn't mean something bad. And this man come out in the public, come look on the Jamaican people and tell them, say, lower than you are. That's a customer when him say that anyone in a room and them both places are take. Tell me the woman says wrong. That's what women used to custom them will tell say you're lower than. Especially if them a custom man, when them are broke up with her, them not fair broke up with it. They don't even have to be breaking up with their man. Them the woman, Jamaican woman can cuss. You know, them I don't think them not get some of them will get away. Them not get morning, noon, and night. But when them get to cuss you, they will cuss you bad. Yeah? And I think this is what happened in that situation. This man was cursing the Jamaican people, and there were people there blowing them vuvuzela and making all kind of noise. Well, as you can see, the people are very subdued. They're not even excited. So as what somebody mentioned in the comments, to say that is an imported crowd, and it would appear that way because they were not. The way I know how people behave when they're at political rallies, this wanna look away. This is not how people behave when they're political rally, especially at a time when Andrew Wallace could call an election anytime now. And I tell you, I was like watching this weekend to say and say, telling myself that he could very well call it this weekend. He went to a constituency conference today. And what I'm calling it, constituency the area one conference. And I thought it was going to thing. But I think after that meeting, unless them have some other area conferences to go, because I think the reason why this one is running so late is they were trying to settle up that seat where Samuda, and there's 2 seats I heard, but I know Samuda was Samuda's seat. Where that Northwest St. Andrew, something to that effect. That seat was up for grabs because Samuda is trying to step away, but because between a man, I know what the guy named, 2 of them, the 2 laborites who can't agree, to challenge for that seat that Samuda is walking away from. Steve Wright is one of them, and there's another guy with one of them big up Tapanari's name. They're fighting over the seat, and so they had to call it off and pull it back because it was about to tear the party apart. And thing. But with that, I'm not going to hold you out anymore much longer. I don't want to get blamed for tomorrow morning when you can't wake up to go to work or wherever, school or anything like that. You're going to say, I kept you to your bed. So I want to just pull the curtains down on this one for this evening. And if you have any comments, please continue to comment. I try. That's why I start reading them right on the spot, so people can know that I'm reading them. I need to make some comments myself, but I have to pay attention to everything else. All right. I want to say to you guys, thank you. Those who came and stayed with me until the end, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for participating, and I look forward to seeing you soon. I tell you, this is election season, and I'm more motivated to come and keep more of these, all right? Because I need to get out there more often. All right, thanks, guys. Have a blessed night, have a blessed week, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you.